In June 2025, Ben Askren, the former UFC fighter and Olympic wrestler, faced the most harrowing battle of his life, one that had nothing to do with an opponent inside the cage. After developing a severe case of pneumonia that quickly spiraled out of control and led to a life-threatening staph infection, Askren was rushed to the hospital. His condition worsened so rapidly that he was placed on a ventilator and then an ECMO machine to keep his blood oxygenated as his lungs failed. During this traumatic ordeal, he says his heart stopped 4 times. He was clinically dead, briefly, multiple times. His wife Amy kept a journal throughout the process, which later helped him understand what had happened. Ben lost more than 50 pounds while unconscious and woke up with no memory of the previous 36 days. Doctors told him he would not survive without a double lung transplant. Through the support of friends, family, and a mysterious $500,000 donor, the transplant became possible. Ben, once known for his strength and iron will in the ring, was now fighting to breathe, to walk, to live. This wasn't the kind of fight the world had seen Ben Askren in before, but his entire life had prepared him for it. Born on July 18, 1984, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Ben grew up in Heartland, Wisconsin. Raised in a blue-collar household by Chuck and Michelle Askren, Ben started wrestling at the age of 6. He wasn't particularly athletic, lanky with an awkward build, but he had tenacity. By the time he reached Arrowhead High School, he had already developed an obsessive work ethic. That drive paid off. He became a 2-time Wisconsin state wrestling champion and was recruited by the University of Missouri. There, his career exploded. He went on to win 2 NCAA championships, earn the prestigious Dan Hodge Trophy twice, and achieve a record of 153 wins and just 8 losses. His distinctive wrestling style, known for its creativity and unpredictability, earned him the nickname Funky. He wasn't the kind of athlete who relied on brute strength. Instead, he dismantled opponents with strategy, leverage, and technique. In 2008, Ben qualified for the U.S. Olympic team and represented the country in freestyle wrestling at the Beijing Games. Though he didn't medal, the Olympic experience was pivotal. After the disappointment in Beijing, Ben made the switch to MMA, a transition many Olympic wrestlers have attempted, but few have mastered. Askren did it in stride. He debuted in professional MMA in 2009, quickly racking up wins with his superior wrestling. In 2010, he entered Bellator and won the Season 2 welterweight tournament. He captured the Bellator welterweight championship and held it until 2013, defending it multiple times and remaining undefeated during his tenure. Following Bellator, he signed with 1 championship in Asia and continued his winning streak. He became the 1 welterweight world champion and successfully defended the title multiple times. By 2017, Ben was regarded as one of the best welterweights in the world, despite never having fought in the UFC. His dominance, however, wasn't without criticism. Many fans and pundits felt his grinding wrestling style was boring to watch, but few could deny its effectiveness. He was a master at shutting down his opponent's offense and imposing his will. In 2018, Askren finally entered the UFC in a groundbreaking trade that sent Demetrius Johnson to 1 championship. He made his UFC debut in March 2019 against Robbie Lawler and won via a controversial submission stoppage. His second UFC fight came against Jorge Masvidal in July 2019. In a shocking and historic moment, Masvidal knocked Askren out in just 5 seconds with a flying knee, the fastest knockout in UFC history. The defeat was brutal, and it became an internet meme almost instantly. Ben handled it with grace, cracking jokes about it on social media, but the loss marked the beginning of the end of his MMA career. Later that year, he lost again to Demian Maia via submission and announced his retirement from MMA, citing the need for hip replacement surgery. After retiring from MMA, Askren didn't fade into obscurity. Instead, he leaned into other ventures. He co-founded the Askren Wrestling Academy with his brother Max, coaching young athletes and continuing to influence the sport that shaped him. He also launched a podcast, became a cryptocurrency investor, and remained active in the combat sports conversation. In 2021, Askren returned to the spotlight for a highly publicized boxing match against YouTuber Jake Paul. The bout was criticized by many as a cash grab, and Askren lost by TKO in the first round. Still, the fight introduced him to a new audience, and demonstrated his willingness to step into any arena, no matter the outcome. That same year, he underwent his hip replacement surgery and focused on recovering. In 2022, he released his memoir, Funky: My Defiant Path Through the World of Combat Sports. The book offered insight into his journey through wrestling, MMA, and the personal challenges he faced. It was honest, introspective, and unapologetically Ben Askren. Smart, quirky, and defiant. Readers appreciated the transparency, especially his reflections on failure and perseverance. Askren has always been more than just a fighter. He's a thinker, a coach, a husband, and a father. Married to his high school sweetheart Amy since 2010, the two share 3 children. While his public persona is bold and often sarcastic, those close to him describe him as fiercely loyal and deeply committed to his family and students. His wrestling academy in Wisconsin has produced some of the country's top high school wrestlers, and his impact on the sport continues through the athletes he mentors. Now, in the wake of his life-threatening health scare, Ben is once again facing a new phase of life. The man who once stood atop the podium and inside the octagon is now learning to walk again, learning to breathe with someone else's lungs. He's spoken publicly about how his mindset has shifted. Survival has given him new clarity. He no longer chases legacy in terms of titles or records. Instead, he wants to pour into his family, his athletes, and his community. He wants to coach, teach, and inspire others through his experience. His journey is a powerful reminder that strength isn't only measured by physical dominance or win-loss records. Real strength is resilience, the ability to bounce back when life knocks you down, even if that means fighting just to stay alive. Ben Askren may never step back into a cage or a ring, but he's already won a fight that matters more than any championship belt. His story continues, not as a competitor, but as a survivor, a teacher, and a man who refuses to be counted out, even when his heart stops beating. From the wrestling mats of Missouri to the bright lights of the UFC octagon, and now through the sterile corridors of a hospital ward, Ben Askren's life has never been ordinary. It's been funky, unpredictable, and absolutely unforgettable.